I was going through this rough time with my mom since my dad left. So I figured it'd be good to tell a story about my experience and my mom's experience, because as much as people go through it, people don't see how detrimental it is to people's lives. And I think it's very important to see how it affects not only the spouse, but the children, because I don't think people focus that much about the children. So when I got this opportunity to tell about this story, this was the moment, this is the right time, and I had to make it happen.
Never in my dreams that it would happen to me. Everything blew up into proportion. I fell down, they said. I didn't even notice that I fell.
Calibuso was desperate to find ways to cope with her depression and the pain in her heart.
So when I introduced the idea of doing the story on my mom to my mom, she was not very accepting of it at first. She was saying how she didn't want people to see her in such a weak state, nor see our family see her in such a weak state. And that's understanding, because of course, as humans, we want people to see us at our strongest and not at our weakest state. But after some time, I had to convince my mom and tell her to look at the bigger picture, which was not to tell a story about her, but tell a story about what people go through. So I think that's what convinced her to show people, to help other people just like her in understanding that even though this is such a tough time, you will get through it with your children, your family, and everything that surrounds you, because there's always a silver lining in times of trouble.
I was ready to go. And I almost committed suicide because of the stress that I'm going through.
Luckily, Calibuso held on with the support of her family, especially her son, Kyson.
I always try my best to do things for her, to always be with her. Sometimes I would always hold little concerts for her.
So during this project, all the sorts of feedback I received from my mentor, David Rosen, it was definitely a lot, and it's always for the betterment of something. So of course, that's something I learned from Mr. Gima, was to never take constructive criticism personally, but to always take it in a way where it'll help the product of something turn even better. Receiving help from someone who's so experienced, that's something people don't get to experience a lot. It's an opportunity to be thankful for. I realized that I was going to be a big part, not only behind the camera, but of course in front of the camera, because that's what the whole story is about.
We would always cook together, dinner, breakfast, lunch, whatever.
It was very difficult because I had to think of where to place myself, and also where to place everything else compared to myself. And then, running back and forth, it was very confusing. It was like jumping from an ocean to a lake and into a puddle. It just doesn't make sense. So of course, with the help of my mentor, it just made things so much more clear. And I was able to get a sense of how to sequence stuff together and how to tell an effective story.
This bond helped.
For my mom, she basically saw every rough draft and every cut. Because of course, when someone's in a video or a story, you want to make sure that they're comfortable with what's going on, and you want them to feel involved in the whole entire process. And then finally, the airing night, we watched it together. So for me and her to see it together, the final product, live, in the same room, it was just a momentous occasion.
Life goes on. Don't dwell on the past. Just look to the future. And that's what me and Kyson is trying to do.
This is Christina Alonzo from Maui High School for HIKI No.
So I say the value of the story for me was, of course, to bond with her more. But most importantly, my purpose was to make sure that everybody out there who's going through the same situation, to know that they're not alone, and to know that there's always something around them that will always make them happy once again. I wanted other people, men and women alike and children alike, to know that they're there for a reason. They're there to help each other. So my plans for this fall is to attend the University of Hawaii at Manoa and to major in biology. But I'm also thinking about majoring in nursing. But the reason why I want to major in either one of those fields is because eventually I want to become a healthcare worker. And I feel like one of the most impactful reasons why I wanted to become a healthcare worker was because of my mom. Because as you can see in the story, she went through so much health problems. And then, seeing all of the healthcare workers come together, it was magic to me. Helping my mom recover from such an ill state, it was magic. It was like a fairy tale almost. So of course, I wanted to be that magic. I wanted to have those magic hands and to really help people recover from something that my mom went through. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button and the little bell icon to get notified immediately of new and exclusive HIKI no content.